Hello, and thank you again for joining this Transcending Ascension production of The Physics of Consciousness by Ivan Antic, all copyrights to the author. Here we go with part 12. The drama of human lives contracts information on existence into the meaning of existence. The purpose of the incarnations of souls into human bodies as such is self-knowledge, to become aware of the fact that consciousness and existence are one. All the necessary prerequisites have already been achieved by the development of the non-organic and organic worlds, with the required perception and abilities for action. The human was created for self-knowledge and nothing but this. Everything else they do is collateral damage only, going down all the wrong paths, doing everything one should not do. The whole universe exists for the reflection of the divine self-awareness. Therefore, the human would do better than to think their purpose extends outside this scope, or that there is something more important for them to do. Although such distinctions was originally a condition for their existence. In fact, even if the human wanted to do anything besides realizing self-knowledge, they would be incapacitated because everything they do is exactly that. From a child who wades across a puddle, thus becoming familiarized with the element of water, to a banker that intentionally enslaves their client with more debts, to a killer and their victim, and finally to an astrophysicist studying the stars. The same thing happens all over again. Consciousness of everything that is experiences itself through everything that is possible, thus actualizing itself as its presence in the form of existence itself. Objectively, nothing but self-knowledge exists. Existence itself, in all of its aspects, is simply one big self-knowledge. All life forms and forms of perception and all actions are ways of broadening and enriching that perception. Only an unconscious human fails to recognize this, the same way they fail to recognize their unconsciousness as yet another form of self-knowledge of all of the possibilities of consciousness. This clearly shows that the human does not stand a chance when trying to escape from themselves, from their destiny and their purpose, which ultimately is self-knowledge. Since the divine consciousness splits itself into what it is and what it ostensibly is not, self-knowledge happens as a two-way process. Instant cognition and the numbness of mind with all its illusions, and a life drama happening in space and time. Those two ways are by no means separate. They happen together as a single act, but their existence is present across several dimensions, as well as in parallel within all possibilities. This single act manifests to an individual mind as being separate. The very nature of parallel realities manifests to an individual mind as a single thing in multiple aspects, in all possible aspects as plenitude. In higher dimensions, where space and time are one in the essence of nature or ether, the act of self-knowledge is one thing that has already happened timelessly, the way it always happens in everything because it is everything. On the lower earth plane, where space and time have been most spread out into objects and phenomena, this single act divides itself into karmic drama across several lifetimes. Although all lives happen in parallel and simultaneously to an individual mind, they appear as though they happen over a period of time because the mind with its subjectivity creates the illusion of time. In other words, existence itself in its original state is pure and direct self-knowledge, and when it is experienced in lower dimensions by a conscious subject, it appears to be spread out through space and time into a myriad of objects and contents. What looks like a singularity in the higher dimensions is a series of lives in karmic drama on this earth plane. When consciousness leaves the body in so-called death, it relives the whole life in one instant, as one event only. It experiences not only personal aspects of the past life, but it also experiences the perspective of all the other conscious subjects who played a part in this life. the way they experienced what it had done too with them, because consciousness in its highest source is one without divisions. All frequencies of the quantum field are at the same time information for forming other frequencies and shapes. Energy, too, is information, the same way consciousness is existence itself. All of existence is one big informational matrix in which the human is networked from the moment of their birth. After forming all possibilities available in nature from elements and minerals, and the development of perception in the plant and animal kingdoms, the divine consciousness has completed all possibilities of perception and action in the human body. In the area of the human body, all pieces of information about objective existence are contracted. However, a simple gathering of information is not enough. Understanding and expressing their meaning is what is required as well. Information without meaning and understanding is pointless. To understand information, it is necessary to put it in the context of other information. By itself, it is worthless. Putting in context and finding the meaning of particular information with all other pieces of information that constitute overall existence can be achieved only in the human, and it only happens through human development in this world, through all of their life experiences and dramas as material and spiritual culture and civilization. It happens through the drama process every human life goes through. Connecting the dots of information is a phenomenon that reveals meaning. Those events in which the human participates by way of their destiny is what surpasses the world of minerals, plants, and animals. It is what brings the divine consciousness one step closer to the meaning of its existence. Understanding the meaning that human development aspires towards may become easier if we observe various existential facts and experiences such as fear, love, hate, happiness, and unhappiness, living together as a family, birth and death, and realizing this is also something animals experience. Plants as well. But they experience all of this directly while events are happening in the way they are happening. Only the human is capable of connecting each existential fact with remaining facts and events in full comprehension. Life itself, they are able to put in the context of space and time, to follow its development from its origin until the moment it disappears, and to take note of every change and the reasons for this change. They can correct and upgrade them to the extent they understand their meaning. Only the human is able to tell stories, write poems, philosophical studies, and scientific papers based on their experiences. Only the human can experience every life experience, feeling, and the state of consciousness, in many ways comparing them with others, and create new original experiences. Only the human can contract a phenomena into information, store it and place it above the space and time where it originated, and turn it into an archetype, and only by so doing are they capable of becoming fully aware of it. Transforming phenomena into information is a process of crossing over to the higher dimensions of existence. The phenomena itself belongs to the material dimension of the element of earth, and the information of phenomena belongs to the dimensions in which the whole of nature exists. It all happens in them. In this manner, the human can conduct through themselves and their experience any phenomena to the highest dimension, into a thought and an idea and consciousness itself, which manifests in nature through the ether. This is the way in which the human raises awareness of the meaning of phenomena. Through themselves, they can orchestrate the beginning and the end of phenomena, both the highest and the lowest. Contracting information on the meaning of existence in the human experience has always been done through the development of culture, writing, and education above all else. Before that, oratory skills were highly valued. Older members of a community conveyed stories of old to youngsters in spoken form. Fairy tales had a special place amongst these stories as very concise and concentrated information, archetypes, about the essence of human experience and existence in general. True fairy tales date back tens of thousands of years, but have managed to survive to this day. In more recent times, together with the development of writing and civilized life, epic stories and myths have originated as a form of concise information about nature, gods, and people, as allegories of the divine and mundane human nature. Gilgamesh, the Iliad, the Odyssey, Mahabharata, the Life of Brian, Only Fools and Horses, etc. Real theaters are built resembling ancient temples, and theatrical performances are staged to depict the experiences of the existence of people with many intricacies involved, not only gods and people like before. Literature, philosophy, drama, art, and especially poetry represent the greatest summary of experience put into information. Owing to this summary, we do not have to experience everything on a personal level, but we can rely on the experiences of other people as well. We can become familiarized with them and compare them against many other experiences that exist. The whole of culture is in reality informational contracting of the meaning of existence into one's self-knowledge and way of life. Recently, this process has been speeding up by way of visual technology, photography, and film. These have been introduced not only to transmit images globally and without distortion to all people, but also to contract the dramatic and artistic expression of visual experience. There is some magic in stories, dramatic art, images, and audio in visual performances. There is a strong desire to understand what is behind this allure. The attraction stems from the purpose of human existence, a need to contract information about the meaning of existence in themselves, thus to attain the state of awareness through which their souls retrieves it to God's consciousness, or more accurately, to reconnect existence with the divine consciousness that enables everything. Contracting information into meaning reaches its peak in modern times and uplifts the whole process to a higher level. With the appearance of the internet and mobile communication, the objective obstacles of space and time in the sense of reaching information do not exist anymore. Only the subjective ones remain. This makes self-knowledge more important than ever. The truth is the whole universe of human development was nothing but a prelude to self-knowledge waiting to happen, or which is already happening. The development of civilization has reached a critical point for the first time. It depends more on the human race than on anything else in the outer world. That is why it is under such a real threat. Self-knowledge of the meaning of existence is always a personal act, never collective. A higher number of enlightened individuals will spontaneously, with their existence, lead to the collective effect of awakening to a human civilization. This process can never go in reverse. It cannot go in reverse because the divine consciousness that actualizes itself through awakening individuals is already present as existence itself. Consciousness is the essence of everything that is. That is why consciousness can never be imposed from the outside. We can only be personally aware and here and now. Beingness is not something one may become. It already is. However, in human experience, all subjective obstacles due to illusory space and time, which seemingly separate us from the meaning of beingness, should be erased. It is we who should be that which nobody can be for us, or instead of us, nor should we sit about waiting for others to come before us just to help us. When consciousness is the issue, we are the only ones who can do something by starting from ourselves first, because the essence of the divine consciousness is that there are no others. Nothing outside it exists. Any attempt at conditioning it by something that is other is only one more illusion and cause for delay. Since the very nature of human incarnation is to contract all information about individual meaning into the meaning of existence, nobody's life, no human drama and life story are more important than any others. They are all equally important and true in the wholeness that is us. If we were not so, there would not be complete versatility of all lives and life experiences, and together with that, the creativity in manifesting consciousness. That is the foundation of creativity. Injustice in existence is not an option. The destiny of each being, each possible event from the most elevated to the most bizarre, is an act of creativity of the divine consciousness, and of regarding the whole as equally important, because it is holographically reflects the whole itself. The whole could not exist if everything were not exactly as it is and where it is, because everything reflects the whole. If we pause for a moment to remember the divine particle and the fact that we were made from the same particle, much like everything else, the whole universe included as a consequence, this means all events in the cosmos and all lives are connected. Phenomena are by no means separate from existence itself. That is why we are the consciousness that enables everything. We are the beginning and the end of every story. Only the illusion of linear incarnation keeps dividing phenomena into separate shapes to enable a myriad of details into existence. Ether, or Akasha, is the universal quantum field that gives rise to all possible manifestations, all living shapes, and all the phenomena that living beings go through. The individual consciousness of souls activates all individual possibilities, events, and life dramas. It writes its story in ether using the incarnated physical body, its possibility of existence, whereas physical incarnation itself is nothing but bringing life to life stories by sheer existence. By physically participating in the drama that exists as an idea in the ether, the one single particle everything is made of and connected to, the one common foundation of the universal field of overall existence, turns us into characters in all the dramas. We are both the storyteller and the listener, the participants and the witnesses. We are the beginning and the end of each life story that has ever happened, and we all through ourselves retrieve consciousness of the meaning of all phenomena to the divine source. All the lives of the karmic dramas and life stories together define consciousness of everything that is in all their possibilities. This is why all life dramas are equally important and true, even ones that on the surface appear to be the ugliest and most wrong. Through all those individual experiences, the whole of the divine absolute individually knows itself. The very nature of the absolute is such that nothing is irrelevant or separate, which means that for its consciousness it is equally important to know itself most individually and bizarrely, the same way it knows itself in the most objective divine way. There is no difference between the small and the big, the important and the unimportant, because nothing is different from it. Hence, all the life experiences of all people are the imagination of the divine absolute, not our own. And we are merely actors in this cosmic show, the laborers who make it happen. We are its very imagination as well. In reality, we are its awareness of itself, because nothing is possible outside of it. Now that ends part 12 today. Interesting. And I intuitively know this is true. My entire existence has been obsessed with learning. Even before I got into spirituality, I was obsessed with learning. I just constantly consumed knowledge, because in school I found it lame and information was nothing. But by the time I graduated high school, the internet was roaring. I'm not that old. It existed when I was in school too, but I lived in the country and we had dial-up. But when I moved to the city, I had access to internet. Smartphones came out shortly after, and it was just consume. But information. I have never been one, and that's the Sagittarius in me, been one for the lame stuff they talk about social media and all the problems with social media. Luckily, I was excused from that because of divine cosmic nature. It's just my Sagittarius nature, along with other things, being a projector. I am obsessed with learning. So it's very interesting to hear that is the entire point. Because honestly, if we didn't live in a world where I had to make money to exist, and I could sit in a cabin in the woods and read my entire life and I would feel completely satisfied. And I can feel satisfying universal knowledge coming out of fictional books too. So this is fascinating. And my original career, which I mention on my channel all the time, was wanting to be an actor, but now I know why as soon as I got into spirituality, it becomes quite obvious, because you channel those characters, which can actually be dangerous, and that's probably what killed Heath Ledger. You can actually deeply channel these characters because they are all archetypes within the collective consciousness that we pull down. And there is a serious power in that, like a feeling, like a stream, like you're feeling that river will run through you as an actor when you participate in a play, in a character, and you play that part. It's powerful. Even in my TikTok, when I first started it up, I brought back characters, and I was teaching spirituality based off characters, which I would love to do. The winds just changed, and I don't have the same motivation for it. But again, I was pulling down characters, except this time it was cosmic, and I felt that tunneling of energy. That I don't know if you've not acted, if you know how to feel that space. And channelers, that's what they get into, and channeling can be dangerous. So it's cool, but you have to always be able to come back to your full, divine, pure self and not pick up any energetic entity debris along the way, which actors can verify it happens. Like, they actually, the really good ones and the ones that go really deep, do lose a sense of self. Christian Bale has mentioned that he lost his own actual real voice. He can't even talk in his real voice anymore. He had to get a voice coach to just bring it back to sort of like it, because they go that deep into another energetic stream of a being. Do you know what that means? Like another energetic. So same with information. You can informationally get into an energetic stream of their information. It's why when I get into a certain author and I fully get the gist of who they are, I all of a sudden get like a bigger whoomp of what their information is, and I can see it more clearly. It's why I wish Ivan Antic had more public information. He doesn't. So I don't know who he is. And I feel like this is why I read this book to you. I am trying to get into his head. It's an ability I can do with people, except not him, because there is no person to get into, because he doesn't have, and I wonder if he does this on purpose. And if you've ever found him, let me know. He has a website, but it's brief. It doesn't have anything personal. And he even says he leads a quiet life away from the public eye. So it may be because he knows we could jump into him. If we knew him, you can jump into people. So I don't know. I've even wondered that myself. Like, is it exposing me to energetic drain? As a projector, I experience energetic drain constantly. If you're a projector, human design, you would know what that is. I always recommend finding a human design type. I can help you if you ask. I'll let you know what it is. I just need birthday, time, and location. Same as astrology, but it goes much deeper. But again, that is accumulating knowledge. It's accumulating the knowledge of this person you've been born inside. It's accumulating cosmic knowledge, as human design itself shows how we are building and combining cultures together to print out bigger realities for ourselves. Like, human design is astrology, the Vedics, it's I Ching, it's Kabbalah, and it's a few other, it's mathematical structures based within these major systems. And they all pull together to interlay a more exact model of you. So astrology, but more. And it's just fascinating, because the depths of knowledge, it's good to know that, like, I'm doing life correctly. You know, I might not be succeeding at all the human things, because that is almost impossible. And somebody was saying the other day that I was listening to, that you just have to let go of the human things sometimes, and just let that be human, because it will hold you back. Like certain, oh God, it's endless. I could list so many lame things, but like, we just had Thanksgiving here in Canada, and there's all these, I didn't do it. I didn't do anything because I don't want to. And every day is Thanksgiving. It's the harvest season for me, as I'm not a witch. I'm a witch. We're all witches. I like that story. I like that. I don't do magic, but I like that story. I like the pagan way of doing things. That feels more sacred, because we're matching it with the earth. So whatever earth, our mother, wants, I'm going to listen to mom, you know? What the mother earth wants, that for me feels more natural. That is what vibes for me. So letting go of human especially would recommend an American letting go of Thanksgiving right before Christmas. Now that seems stressful. If ours is stressful in October, I could just imagine how stressful yours is right before Christmas. And again, why is Christmas so stressful, right? It shouldn't be. That isn't the winter solstice is an exceptionally powerfully magic time where the purity of Christ consciousness, because of the white snow, not that we all have, I'm in Canada and we can't even guarantee snow and Christmas, but still they pair together nicely hand in hand of the purity. Christ consciousness is that highest energy we can attain as a human being of the pureness of God. Buddhists can go past it into nirvana, which is the void space. The pure void space surpasses Christ consciousness, but the void space is potentiality, where it's fascinating to go, interesting for your next life. It's definitely boss mode, but if you're looking to make your actual human life better, like your human interactions and everything human-wise, you don't need to be a monk meditating for hours upon end to find the void nirvana space. You can simply aim for Christ consciousness. And I found the void space. It's fantastic. It is instantly healing. But I have something in my human design I just found out recently in a series I'm doing with human design expert Todd Groen that tells me that I actually have an ability to step into that space easier. So I didn't realize that. So other people don't necessarily have that jump into these interdimensional spaces as easily. And again, another reason why it's helpful, because then you can learn, oh, why is this harder for me? Why can other people do this and others can't? It'll help show you what kind of empath you are if you are an empath. It'll help show you why you're not an empath. You want to know if you're an empath? Open root center in human design. Open root, okay? And then from within there, as it travels up, the open root center, or not, so up, open centers above the root, your lower centers. So you have emotional, I have open, I'm mostly open. So I'm extremely empathic. So most of those centers all at the bottom, if they're open, you're going to be a very powerful empath. If only a couple are open, you're kind of an empath, and it just goes from there. So you'd have to look and see. And again, more knowledge so you can learn, oh, this is why crowds bother me. Oh, this is why I feel other people's emotions. Okay. Again, self-knowledge, building the self up. And then you watch, and it's funny to see and hear this from today's lesson that, like, it might not translate into your human life. Like, I have done so much spiritual work, and then one can get, and my human life has increased, the abundance has increased, but it's not what the YouTubers, oh, now I'm a millionaire just a year after doing this affirmation every day. Yeah, no offense. You find out those people are usually trust fund people and love and light to everybody, but the majority of us actually came here to struggle in the human world because you're going to learn more. So you're going to have conflicts with your parents. You're going to have conflicts with your children. You're going to have conflicts with your friends. You might not even have any friends if you're awakening, and that's okay too. You will learn more of the self within the self. Friends can be a crutch, and you stop. I used to have a very tight group. We were codependent. We did everything together. We wouldn't do stuff without each other. And I felt I never grew. I was half funny, safer, more loved, happier probably in that young time. But now I learn more. Before I was very in that tiny friend world. But now I'm in a universal world. I'm in a cosmic world. And then I'm also in a family world. I'm a mother. I have a job, but my main thing is being a mother. And I made sure my job's a stay-at-home job. I counsel people. I help people, but only to the point my mother energy is not depleted. Because that's very vital. Because it's all about learning. It's all about staying vigilant and growing as a being. So hearing this lesson again, it's not my first time hearing it, but reading it out to you guys now, it brings new revelations, or reminds me of the revelations I probably had the first time. These are books, like, there's some books I'm one and done. I can't reread it if I want to. This book, I don't think I can ever read it enough. He writes like a robot almost. He is so unreadable on his personality. He's writing so unbiased. I'm an avid reader. I've never read someone that wrote like this in my life. And it's almost frustrating, but at the same time appreciated. And it's why his work is the most powerful I've ever found in modern life. Obviously, Carl Jung's great, and there's writers in the past, but I don't know. Ivan Antic might take the win here. It's hard to say. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is Ivan Antic the best writer and teacher that you have found? I think so. I don't want to nail it down, but I think so. Thank you for joining us today for part 12, and hope to see you in the future. Bye-bye.